back to the podcast. It has been a while. Christmas is coming. We are on our way. I'm the one who celebrates Christmas, not you. But
Hi,
nonetheless,
everybody.
hello.
Hi.
Hello. So this episode is going to be a bit of a mishmash. We did some holiday themed stuff. Past two episodes, if you haven't seen those or listened to them, depending on where you are receiving this content, feel free to go back and listen to them or watch them. This one's going to be a bit of a mishmash. We just got some information and things to talk about because I didn't want to do another themed episode because just didn't want to do one. So, all right, I got a bunch of stuff to talk about of various degrees. Let's start with the one that you were telling me about, which was on the news 2 days ago. And I think it's a really interesting thing to talk about, which was your cow thing. So you explain it first, and then I will go deeper into it. So explain what you just told me.
Well, we all should know that when methane goes in the air, it affects climate control negatively.
And cows are specifically with methane causing a majority of the emissions.
Yeah, one cow supposedly is the equivalent of a small car contributing methane to the atmosphere. And a farmer came up with a discovery with seaweed. That seaweed, if you give it to a cow, will affect his digestion so that he won't give off methane gas because he gets flatulence. For people who don't know what flatulence is, cows fart a lot. And also they burp a lot. So he believes that it would cut the cow's contribution of methane to the atmosphere by at least 1/3, and it could be a big savior for our future.
Right. So to go deeper into that, first of all, let me back up. I was wrong about methane and the cows being majority. They cover 30% of the global emissions. Methane gases, and within methane gases, cows releasing the methane is 30% of global emissions. Feeding seaweed to cattle has, like you said, can go to 1/3, but it can also go as high as 40%, nearly half of the emissions that cows give out in terms of methane can be removed just by feeding them seaweed. That is crazy. That's crazy numbers, given how easy that would be. It's not like they have to be farmed in certain climates or certain places. It's simply just giving them seaweed. Now, how easy or difficult it is to grow and maintain seaweed is a separate issue. But the cost and the time that it would take to grow the seaweed, does that cause more pollution on a different scale than it would to take care of cattle? I don't know. That would be something to look ahead towards, because if we're going to be feeding cattle seaweed, we're going to have to get massive quantities of it.
I know that seaweed is used when they make sushi.
Right. So now we will have to see how that affects, because if we start giving cattle seaweed, is there going to be a seaweed shortage, or are we going to ramp up production somewhere with seaweed? And like I said, does ramping up the production of seaweed does the benefit of reducing cows' methane outweigh the pollution that will inevitably come from producing more seaweed? Because not all seaweed's coming from the ocean. They're producing it places, somewhere where they can grow it. And thus there is emissions that are coming out of that, whatever shape or form. So that sort of scale weighing has to come into play.
We have to figure that out. Not we, but it has to be figured out.
So I think that's an extraordinary thing that you were telling me just before we started to record. You told me that. I said, we have to absolutely include that. This is nowhere near a news podcast, but I just thought it was compared to the stuff we're going to be talking about, it fits with what we're discussing in terms of random stuff. But by all means, I would. This is very important.
Yeah, it would also would be good for humans with stomach disorders.
In what way? Oh, you mean seaweed specifically?
Yeah, I guess because if it prevents you from having flatulence, uh, and human flatulence also contributes to methane gas. I mean, it could be very, very helpful. We don't know where this is going to lead. It was one of these strange discoveries.
So I found an article on the cows, and it says this is off of CBS News, which best I can find. Um, they said it only takes 90 days uh, for cultivation of seaweed, allowing for multiple cycles per year, and it can be grown by aquaculture operations almost anywhere if the climate is suitable. Um, and so, mind you, feeding 1.5 billion cows globally is a heavy task, but quoted by Goldman, uh, the good news is we only need to feed those cows 0.2% of their daily ration regarding the seaweed. So, like, not only is it are we capable of growing multiple seaweed groups, seaweed session cycles per year, but we don't have to feed them a lot of it. So
Yeah,
this looks very, very promising. Uh,
yeah,
I
okay,
love this. This is a beautiful thing because we don't really hear a lot of um, good
yeah,
stuff in the news, and the fact that you
yeah,
found this nugget that can quite literally change a lot in our society, I think is beautiful.
yeah. So I I want us to have a small segment on climate control.
Go for it.
This is not a joke. Tell about the girl who's selling something.
Uh, I love and hate that you found that as a good segue. So, for those who don't know, uh, he we send articles back and forth to each other sometimes, and what he sent me recently was an article of a girl who sells jars of her farts, and this segues beautifully because we're talking about cow farts. Not to call the woman a cow. We are not calling that woman a cow. We are simply using the farts as a form of segue. Uh, for those who are my age or around my age, this is an OnlyFans woman. For those who are around his age, OnlyFans is a subscription service where you basically pay for porn and pornographic content. Um, and depends on the person. It can be from varying degrees of, it could be as revealing as possible. It could be simply just them in lingerie. But what makes this OnlyFans app different from like your basic magazine or website that everyone uses is you can get personalized videos from people, or they can, it's not an industry based thing where you have a big company that like you're working under like an actor would, and you have to do certain things. You are your own business person, you're like an entrepreneur in that sense, and you can make and create whatever you want. So what happens is, you if someone wants to buy or messages you and says I'll give you $50 for a jar of your fart, you can
Yeah, but
make that choice and you can say
yeah, but
yeah, 50
but
bucks, hell yeah.
how much did she make, Peter?
Do you know?
I think it was either 50,000 a week or 50,000 a month
Oh,
selling them.
45,000 a week.
So that
45,000 a week selling farts.
so basically she prevented methane from getting in the air, but and I give her accolades because it's a great business thing she did. She really thought outside the box. But I'm trying to think about what a sick society we have that so many people would spend that kind of money on somebody's farts.
So she sells them for $1,000 a jar.
Okay, so basically,
$1,000 for a jar. And mind you, these jars are not like mason jars. I can't believe I'm having a discussion on the size of the jar that she's farting into. Um,
you know,
yeah,
okay, so yeah,
small
so
jars.
yeah, so what bothers me is I just brought that up as a segue, but now uh, how could I figure that people are going to be serious on the next thing I'm going to say about climate control? Right now, glaciers in the Antarctic and glaciers near certain mount areas are melting at such a fast rate that they say in the next decade that we are going to have terrible, terrible uh, tidal waves in the beach areas, and they're going to cause a change in weather. Uh, Certain areas also are uh, getting warmer, and uh, bridges that were put, into the ground and should not have a problem, their structures are falling apart because of the changes of the atmospheric weather. And 10 years from now seems like a long time, but it's not. And people, do funny things like this woman or girl did, but it's about time that we really took what's happening with these glaciers seriously, because I have to, because I live across the street from the Gulf of Mexico. So,
Right. Well,
many, we got to be
so
careful.
there's a ton to add to this. There's a ton to unpack in terms of everything you just said. Yes, 100%. We've most I would argue most of the kids, the people around my generation, younger than me and slightly older than me, are very focused on climate change. The problem is we have very little capabilities to fight or go against it because your generation is the one who is still in power, and your generation is the one who's writing laws and ignoring us and doing other things. Additionally,
Wait,
um,
wait,
what?
my generation, no, my
It's
my
your generation
generation.
and the one after you.
Wait a second. My generation and the one after me are lucky they can find a door and get out of the house. You're talking about some of the older senators and congressmen. Not my generation. My generation is most of them are lost in space. I mean,
No, that's not true at all. There are congressmen who are in their 70s. There are
that's what I
congressmen.
said.
Yeah.
Just we got to get them out.
Oh, yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. We
We
need to
should have
get
a
them out. We
yeah.
need younger people. I am very much for I've had this discussion with friends over the past couple of years of a cap. If you want to be in Congress, you are not you whether it's a retirement or forced retirement or whatever. I think you should not be allowed in Congress past like 60. Even that's too much, but 60 would be my cap because
No, I would go.
after that you start to get too far removed from society.
Yeah, you get entrenched also in payoffs. So
Right. But I'm just saying in general, you become too far removed from where you started, what you wanted to do for the people, and everything in general. So I would argue lower, like a younger age, but I would settle for 60 because right now we have 70-year-olds and mid 70s, late 70s, early 70s, and it's awful. It's awful. The past like 5 to 6 years have just been shown how removed all of them are. Almost all of them. Not all of them, because some of them are young, but almost all of them.
yeah, so yeah,
So
well,
yeah, we
some of
definitely need to take things more seriously. But sadly to say, when it comes to most politicians, they're not going to do anything until it's an issue. Until it's a problem at this moment, they're not going to do anything. Adding to that as well, you were
yeah, I do.
saying
I
how
think
what?
I think they do pay for play.
I think so too. I think so too. I think it's all of them.
Remember our podcast, America is heading towards the crapper that most politicians are legalized criminals.
Yes,
Okay, so that says it all.
that it does says it. Yes, but we don't even have to go into a whole shtick on that because we already have a
Yeah,
podcast. We already have an episode on that. So
yeah.
if you'd like to go
So
see that one, you can go check that. I think that was like episode 3 or 4. But
yeah, but
yeah.
we got to deal with this. They've been talking about this for years and years, and right now, like I said, the biggest glaciers in Antarctica and the Arctic region are now glaciers on top of mountains are melting. It's going to change the whole format of what our weather is going to be like.
It is. I mean,
I mean,
recently I don't remember where it happened, but we just had 4 tornadoes occur at the same time. All
and
within.
yeah, and as we speak, Peter, I am waiting for. Uh, I'm in Florida, and there's going to be possibly 40 to 45 mile an hour winds and a possible tornado. Hopefully, not headed towards me, but we're concerned about it.
I was
So
unaware of that.
yeah,
That's
yes,
frightening news.
yeah.
But
So we
wow.
didn't experience it, and since when? I mean, do you guys in New Jersey you had hurricanes and all that stuff? I mean,
Well, storms have been getting worse, but we're starting to
yeah,
see what would arguably be considered more wild things, like the 4 tornadoes that occurred on the same day. In
yeah,
they're in like close quarters. Um, Additionally,
hmm
you said something about how our infrastructure is not built for that, and bridges and things that are being built will not last. And I would also argue that that's not even weather related, because there are structures that have been here for hundreds of years and are still pretty decent. There's old bridges and old buildings and that things that we have that obviously we've started to restore because we've made them as like historical landmarks. But there are things that have been built for centuries and have
no, no.
lasted. Not to say that they would survive a tidal wave, but they've
That's
lasted
not what I'm.
centuries.
That's
So
not
my
what I'm.
argument is, we've also found ways to cut corners and make things that don't are not meant to last more than a few years. So when a storm comes along and speeds up the process, yeah, it sucks. But at the same time, that's what happens when you have an infrastructure that's designed to make money and not for
Mm,
longevity.
but the article I read was talking about the moisture content and the heat within the ground that's going to make some of the structures crack, which they normally wouldn't do. Uh, and this is all due to climate change. But I'm not an engineer. Hopefully, it doesn't happen right away. But we just got our government has to focus on it. I know they're trying to put money towards improvement, but by the time they improve it, the new bridges get old.
Yeah.
The new
Well,
structures get old. Yeah.
and that's all
Yeah.
that's an entirely separate conversation of the fact that like by the time they actually make a decision whether it's for or against it, we already need new bridges. Like by the time the bridges that are built that they applied for last time are finally built, we already need new ones because it
Yep.
takes so long. The process, for whatever reason that they go through, the people and the votings and the debates and everything that goes on takes so long. And it's because they do
Yeah.
things in bulk, they do things in sessions. And do I have a better way? No, because I don't understand the full process. So I can't offer a
Yeah.
better way, but I am capable of seeing the issues that are in my immediate forefront.
Yep.
So,
Yep. What else you got?
oh, I meant to add before we went on the tangent, the woman that sells for farts was part of the reason why this was so successful for her, because I will make it very clear that this is not something everyone can just go on OnlyFans and do. She was I'm not saying her name because I don't want you looking her up. And not you, I'm talking about the people who are listening. She was on 90 Day Fiance. That's why, because she was on a TV show where this was a thing, and because she is a mild actress, uh,
Mm,
she started in OnlyFans and used arguably some of her fame to get to that level where she can sell jars of farts for $1,000.
yeah.
There's
Now
been
I
other
w-
people out there that do things like that as well. They sell feet pictures, they sell leg pictures, they sell all types of crap. There's the anyone who's around my age will know Belle Delphine, the chick who sold her bathwater. Um, so
hey,
all, and it's
yeah,
not even like it was crazy. She just sat in water and then scooped it out and labeled it and sent it off. And so, look,
okay.
this is and
Oh,
this is the
yeah,
territory of a free market. We have the capacity to do what we want. If you can create a business out of it and it's successful, that's your freedom. You know what I mean? Whatever.
yeah, you're right.
Is it
But what
weird?
do you,
And it's disgusting that a woman can sell her jar of farts for 45K a week, and there are teachers in America that are making less than 45K a year. Yeah, of course. That's a separate, that's a conversation to have. Why is this a thing? Why is selling jar farts more lucrative than being a teacher? And
yeah, you see, and I have no qualms with somebody, like I said, being enterprising, but I just can't believe that people are dumb enough to buy it.
right.
I mean,
Well, and that's my favorite part is, you can't even look at the woman and go, "Why is she selling her farts?" It's like, "No. Why are they buying it? Why are these men and women buying jars of farts from a woman?" Or if there's men out there, I haven't heard of any hit the news of a man's feet pics going viral making 45,000 a week. So, it seems to be women, which means it tends to be the men who are buying. Majority, I'm guessing.
I
Why
guess that,
are they
I get,
buying? Why are you buying a jar of farts? Please
yeah, I guess that,
explain.
yeah, I guess that's how they use their stimulus check.
Yeah. Yeah. They get Biden's stimmy and they go right to OnlyFans and they buy themselves a nice jar of farts. Oh my God. I
Well, you
can't
know,
believe that's gonna be the conversation of the podcast. Oh my God.
well, also on a lighter note, how would you like to be Santa Claus behind those reindeer? I mean, it got to be rough for him with those reindeer. I mean, there got to be a lot of flagellants there, and
No, because he's
eh,
flying in the air, so he's going too fast for them for him to catch a whiff.
yeah, hopefully not.
Nah,
Yeah,
he's going too fast in the air. He's on his sled, and he's got, he's already magic enough to fly on his sled. So I think he's got enough magic to put a little shield that blocks the reindeer farts. So
yeah. Do you have any
I think he's
serious?
got that one covered.
Do we? Do you have any serious things you want to talk about?
I've got another one that's relatively comedic, uh, and it has to do with the Duggars. I don't know if you know who the Duggars
Yeah, they're the ones with about 260 children.
are. Yes. Yeah. Um, the Duggar family. So apparently the husband, uh, he ran for Arkansas State Senate on the Republican side and he lost. So, um, and for those who don't know the Duggars, there was a TV show out there called 19 Kids and Counting. No, the Duggar family, husband and wife, have 19 plus kids. I have no idea what compelled them to have this many kids. I think part of it was like a religious thing that they did. I think originally, from what I knew, it was like some form of Christian, like spreading their bounty or whatever. Not to get religious about it, but I think like I believe that's where their basis was stemming from. I don't know for fact though. All I know is they have 19 freaking kids and counting, and that is wild. especially in 2021, because having one child is impossible. Then again, they're also living in Arkansas, so they're probably making fine money at doing anything. Um, but yeah, he ran for Arkansas State Senate. I have no idea how he has any form of qualifications because he doesn't. He's a TV star, and he lost. He drew 15% of the vote, while two other people drew 46 and 36. So uh,
That's scary, isn't it?
it's yes, it's scary that he drew even that much. The fact that
Well,
he drew that much is an issue because yeah, um why are you voting for a man with 19 kids and a TV star with 19 kids? Um yeah.
well, we vote for anybody, you know that.
Oh, I did not realize this. That's uncomfortable. One of his sons was convicted days after the election for having um I don't really want to I'm not trying to say this on a podcast, but he had some form of pictures and videos of youth that were not good.
Probably
Uh
one of his sisters.
who knows? I'm not even looking into that conviction.
Yeah,
But all I
you never
know is that
know.
one of his sons was convicted in federal court um, for possessing and receiving that. He apparently one of the elder Duggars served in a one term in the Arkansas House. So, all right, I guess that's why he was running because I guess one of the children have been a part of it. Nonetheless, I have absolutely no idea why.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. If it's his passion, great. But as a TV star, we've already had one TV star as our main political head figure, and that didn't work out too well.
Yeah, well, he was the only prick I know with his own wall.
Nice, nice, wonderful. That's a wonderful thing.
Oh wait, I got to apologize. A partial wall.
Oh yeah, a partial wall. Ah, good.
You know,
All right, all right. I got another one. This one is This one is a shaky topic in that it is everywhere and everyone knows about it and no one really knows what it is. I'm not even going to say I know exactly what it is, but I will preface with a question. Do you know what Bitcoin is?
Bitcoin is another form or another monetary unit uh, that's used as currency, just like our dollar is based on faith because our dollar is not worth a dollar. It's based on the faith of the United States government. Bitcoin and the other currencies that are coming out now are based on the faith of whoever is trading it.
Yes. Okay, great. So it is digital currency that is curated. The price of the digital currency is curated by similar to stocks. How people are trading, the buy and sell of it, and so on. So, like one whole Bitcoin is whatever, $40,000. One whole Ethereum is 15,000, whatever it is. And the thing with digital currency like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all those others, they can be sparsed out into small pieces. So you can have zero point 0.1 of a Bitcoin, 0.2 of a Bitcoin, 3.1 Bitcoins, and so on. You can have 0.0001 of a Bitcoin, 0.01, all different forms and percentages of a Bitcoin. They equate to some form of dollar. With that, do you know what an NFT is?
I did, but I forgot. Fund trading and something fund trading.
Non-fungible token.
Fund truth. Non-fund. Oh, okay.
Non-fungible token. So it's starting to hit advertisements for someone like me who's been learning about and not participating because I think it's dumb. Though it is very lucrative. It's so non-fungible tokens is basically, I'm trying to think of an easier way to say it. It's basically like copywriting a picture on the internet.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
that's a basic form of it, in that I can make a picture, I can draw a picture, I can upload it onto various NFT websites, and it is now attached to my name. I can then sell it and make a percentage off of it every time it's sold somewhere else. But I can sell it for various Bitcoins, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Shibu, whatever. And I make a percentage, I make money off the first sale, and then I can set a percentage every time it's sold. With that, there is um, a log tied to that image so that you can see where it originates from. It's basically like a permanent receipt. You can see who it's been traded to forever and ever and ever. With
Yeah,
that, what?
it's like going to a gallery and trading things up and down, up and down, up and down.
So that's the difference. That's the one thing that adds to this, is because it is on a digital market and there is no set standard. The prices for everything fluctuate. So that's why right now it is very, very lucrative. And that's why you're seeing all major companies starting to jump in. A year ago, people were talking about this being a big thing and you should get in, and people keep saying it, and oh, the bubble's going to pop soon, whatever. It's a bubble. And for those who don't realize, it is a bubble. It is an economic bubble, just like the .com, just like some of the other ones. And what I mean by a bubble, for those who are not understanding, that means this is not going to last forever. People are making millions of dollars, thousands of dollars a day, millions of dollars a year, millions of dollars in an hour. There are kids who are posting one NFT and selling it, and it makes $4 million. And they're 10. Like, so this is not going to last. It's a bubble. That's how it works. They pop and then it levels out and finds its own ground. Do we know how long the bubble is going to last? No, but it is a bubble. With that being said, it is quite literally just posting pictures and then selling and trading pictures like stock. And it is,
you know what's even scarier? I don't have the article. This week or last week, somebody in one of those cryptocurrencies or one of those currencies you're talking about lost $500 million. He accidentally threw it out.
Yeah, he had when you start to get if you start trading a lot and you get a lot of money on your accounts, you don't keep the password to your wallet. You have a virtual wallet, and that's where you hold your NFTs and your money. When you get to that point where you start having millions of dollars in it, you no longer keep the password like on your phone or on a piece of paper. You keep that passcode on a keychain, on a USB drive that's like an encrypted, that like the USB drive has its own password. So you have a password for your passwords, and you plug that crap in, and then it logs you in. And yeah, the guy had it on like a USB drive, and that was his only form of access to the account, and he threw it away.
Yeah, tell people again what NFT stands for.
Non-fungible token. And
okay.
So
now, you see, you know what's scary is the reason why people are buying all these alternatives is because the United States is printing money like crazy, and it's paper. And I don't know how much of the paper is actually backed by gold with very little, or it's backed by faith in the United States government. And I just want to throw a segment in.
yeah,
A person, a woman, who is an analyst for the CIA, said that her job was to analyze all over the world what countries were close to civil war. And she said, although we are not on the brink of civil war, we are at a danger point, not a brink, but at a danger point because of all the discrepancies that are happening and the issues that are happening within our country. So think of it this way. People might be looking for an alternative to paper money other than real estate because they might be losing some faith in our dollar. So that is something that might keep that bubble going for a while.
Well, I also think when it comes to, I think at some point we will shift to some form of digital currency. It's easier to track, easier to handle, and doesn't require physical effort in terms of printing and distributing money. Um, the only thing is the reason why it's not taking off right now is because the government hasn't found a way to control it. It currently goes up and down based on the public, and by major groups. So you can have a major uh, organization pump and dump. They can buy up a lot of stock like you would with another company and drop it all. Like that happened. When it happened a week ago or 2 weeks ago, there was a major drop in like almost every uh crypto coin out there, and a video came out of someone in like a major place, a major office building with 100 guys, and they all sold at the exact moment and watched it all dip. They specifically caused the dip, and that's partially because there's no laws and regulations behind crypto because we have 75 to 90-year-olds in office who don't even know what Facebook is. They barely know how to work an email.
Yeah, well, that's one of the problems, again, with getting back to climate control. Uh, a lot of the older politicians, they talk of two sides of their mouth. Let's do something about it, but they're also paid by lobbies not to do something about it.
Right.
And then you got older people who wouldn't understand how to digitally transfer money because they're so used to having money in their hands, uh, and they get very confused. I mean,
And on top of that, you run into an issue of elderly people like that because they don't understand and they get frustrated. They shut down and they say, "We're not doing it. I don't want to deal with this. I want to go back to what I know." And what you know, if by doing that, you're now harming society or people in general, rather than allowing us to advance and go in the direction we need to, which may be crypto, it may be other forms, or maybe other concepts and rules and regulations, because you are out of your element and you are not okay with being uncomfortable, you now affect everyone else. And it
that's
causes
correct.
issues. It causes issues because just because you don't know how to work cryptocurrency doesn't mean the population doesn't, just means you don't, but you're supposed to represent the people. And if the people are asking to move forward with this, you need to respond with okay. And if you can't keep up, you should step down. That's how that
Yeah,
works. But
yeah,
they're
and
not
I
going to
can,
do that because they're making good money and they'd rather stay in power because it's a control thing.
yeah, but
But nonetheless,
I understand it with older people. Older people like myself don't like change. I mean, that's one of the arguments I have with certain people. We don't like change. We like to have our schedule be our schedule. But when you're running a country, you need change. I mean, you need new ideas. And uh, I mean, I have a master's in business. I know finance. I bought and sold millions of dollars of stocks. I traded money. And you know what? I don't know shit from Shiola about these new cryptocurrencies right now. I mean, I'm going to be 78 years old. And uh, would I like to learn? more? Yeah. But do I like the change? No. So I'm very content the way I am now. So if this gets sprung on me, I'm lucky I got a techie. Who's my
That's,
techie?
that's
Who's
me.
my tech? That's
That's
you.
me. For
Okay.
anyone who was doubting where that was come from, that's me. I'm his techie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So what's scary is here I am with somebody with a financial and business background who perhaps hasn't updated his knowledge sufficiently. And you have most of the people in our country who have no background whatsoever, and they'd be totally lost and be gambling. And, maybe they'd make out well. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'd buy something, it would do well. And you ask them why they bought it, they would say, I don't know. And just like when you talk to somebody, because I'm going right back to the climate control. I talked to somebody about climate control, and they tell me, yeah, it doesn't exist. But let me tell you about it. And they'll go, nah, it doesn't exist.
right.
So how do you have a discussion with somebody who won't acknowledge that something has a problem? So whether, it's on all aspects of what we're talking about. Somebody has to acknowledge there's a problem, and somebody has to acknowledge we have to improve upon what's happening. And if they don't want to, nothing gets done.
Yeah, I I agree. Um,
So, like the science fiction, some science fiction books say, are we going to put all us older people on a journey and tell them we're going to the promised land? And when we get to the promised land, we find out it's bye bye, baby, and let the young people do it. There's so many books about it. You know what I'm saying?
right. Well, and here's the thing, not to say that all old people need to be removed from places like that because they have wisdom to give. They
Like me.
exactly. I come to you for a lot of wisdom, but it's, at a certain point there needs to be a separation between wisdom and leadership because I can come to you for wisdom, but that doesn't mean that you need to lead my generation because I'm in my generation. Not to say that I'm the one who's going to lead my generation, but we need someone who's younger and closer to understanding who we are to lead us because then we will feel like we're being listened to and heard and they'll be able to keep up. If I start talking to someone who's the generation above me and I start telling them about NFTs, they'll probably know what I'm talking about. They'll know more than me because their
Mm-hmm.
scope is on that. So they'll be able, I will feel heard if I say, hey, there needs to be more infrastructure on this. Versus if I tell someone your age, they're like, what the hell? What an it, what? They're not gonna know.
Yeah,
So
well, I read about it 2 weeks ago, and all these initials drive me crazy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, it's initials because it's like science, there's a name, there's a scientific name,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a name everyone uses.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and frankly, when it comes to something like NFTs and cryptocurrency, I think what's the most damning thing about it is that it's being pushed so heavily by everyone on social media and by advertisers. And what makes it very difficult, and I think this is something that I've struggled with, and I've seen some of the people I know struggle with, which is learning to trade with NFTs and use NFTs and cryptocurrency. You need money. You, first of all, it's a pay to play. You can't just start this with $10. You need hundreds of dollars to start with. And you have to be okay with losing it because you may make the wrong decision and buy some random NFT for $150 and it drops down to 50 and now you've screwed because no one's going to buy it. But what makes this so damning is there are people who are trying to get a degree in something that has nothing to do with NFTs and cryptocurrency because that's a very business oriented thing. It's entrepreneurship and it's business and economics and finance. When you're trying to get a degree in teaching or you're trying to get a degree in dance, I don't know, whatever, you're trying to get a degree that has nothing to do with that. But everywhere around you, you're being told that guy's making $1 million, that guy's making 50,000 a week, that guy's making this, that guy's that. And there's no one who's actually helping. Everyone goes, just buy my course, buy my course, buy my course. Here's my book. And my book is actually 3 years outdated. Most of the information is not going to be worth your time, but buy my book. And also, if you want to learn this and you really want to do it, you have to participate in it heavily. Even though you have a whole life that you are trying to live, you have to if you want to do this, you have to participate extremely. You can't just like learn it and do it. It's you have to participate heavily. Um, and that's to my knowledge. As someone who is not actively trading NFTs and cryptocurrency, um, it's it's daunting for people who want to get into it and don't know how, and it's damning because it's causing insecurities in people, and that's also why, like you were saying before, people are shifting or trying to shift from physical dollars to crypto because they know that money is becoming an issue. Housing markets going up, food's going up, everything's going up, specifically because of the pandemic, let alone just over the past decade. And now that we see people doing stuff like crypto, where people are literally in a 2 week span going from $500 to six figures in 2 weeks, and are claiming that you can do it too. And it's all over internet, all over physical ads. I'm literally walking through Penn Station for the past 2 months, and I've started to see NFTs painted on the walls. Buy an NFT, get an NFT. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous because, and it's difficult, and it's this big monster that people are trying to decipher. And by the time some will decipher it, some are doing it now. By the time the majority of the people decipher it, it's going to be too late. It's going to be settled, and people are going to not be able to participate in it the way that people are now. And
Yeah, I know.
to finish also what my rant, a little side piece. I think majority of NFT trading is money laundering. Straight, just I think a lot of it is money laundering.
Oh,
There's a big section
absolutely.
of social media that agrees, that I would
Absolutely.
agree with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and any form that is difficult to trace is money laundering. Except now the government is going to try to tax all this crap. But every time they try to do something, it just takes away from something else they should be doing.
Yeah.
Government is getting so complex in what they are trying to do that they should focus on the most important things to do, get it done, and then move on to the next thing. But it's an impossible job, and I hate to see what's going to be around the next 10 years,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well,
You
and I
know,
also and one last thing on crypto that actually ties into what we were talking about with the first topic, which was cattle and gas emissions. When you use crypto, buying and selling things, there is already a tax on it. It's called gas fees. And what that is you are paying for the electricity that it costs to transfer the crypto, the NFT to your wallet or from your wallet. It is called
hmm
gas fees, and those go up and down. But that gas, that think of it like a vehicle. It takes gas to go from one place to the other.
hmm
That gas
like
is using
yeah,
a lot of electricity right now, and
yeah,
it
like
is
yeah,
terrible for the earth.
the
Terrible.
rechargeable cars. Everybody thinks you're saving money with the rechargeable cars, but by the time you purchase the rechargeable kits and have to pay the electric bills for the rechargeable cars, it should wind up costing you more than the gas, provided the gas doesn't go sky high.
Right. Well, but so it's to tie the crypto is, it's adding to the global climate change as well, because there
hmm
are people, because when you're buying and selling this crap, it is causing a lot of emissions in terms of power, because that power has to be generated somewhere. So wherever it's coming out, it's affecting the earth.
Yeah,
Um, so
absolutely.
it is a lot. It's a
Yeah,
lot,
I
and
mean,
it's it's something that I think would benefit people to learn from, or at least try to understand somewhat. I don't think everyone needs to or has to be involved with crypto and NFTs, because there's tons more crap coming out, like the metaverse, and people are apparently building homes, and you can buy homes in the internet, and there's video games that are coming out where you can own a section, like a square block of the video game, and then you get benefits. So I think it's great. I think all this stuff is really, really cool. But again, what makes it daunting as well for people who want to play, it's pay to play. None of it's free.
Yeah.
None of it's free. You can't, it's
Right.
not like YouTube. You can learn on YouTube, but none of it's free. You got to pay for that. And it's not like $20, $50. It's like to play game one, you got to drop two, three, four, five, $800. So,
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Well, all I remember is in history, after the South lost the Civil War, people were walking around with millions and millions of dollars of Confederate money that they burned. I remember having Confederate money as a kid. And I said, "What is this?" "No, it's Confederate money. I wish I kept it. It's not worth value wise, to spend, but
It's
it's
worth like an
probably,
antique.
yeah." So sooner or later, certain forms of money are going to be outdated. Um, I could do a whole segment on American finance on a podcast if you want one day.
We can definitely
But
do that. You can teach our listeners about finance, because
yeah,
every damn well knows I know very little, and a good portion of people I know some. So that would
but
be of
my
benefit.
my my main concern is what's the point? Like right now, as we talk, there's banging in the back. There's a $4 million house across the street being built by me. Probably some kid who made $4 million on cryptocurrency is going to buy it. But
He's
but
good, and that
my
and the weird part is, and the crappy part, he's going to buy it and then not use it. He's going to buy it so that he can put his money into an estate.
Yeah, and what bothers me is here I am. Uh, my house is a big house by the beach. It's always worth money. When in 2008, when the market went down, the price of my house went down 25%. Now it's up from there probably 120%. And the scary part is that uh, it might not be here 10 years from now if we don't do something about climate control, because one day the intercoastal that's in back of me and the Gulf of Mexico to the left of me may decide they want to join and have a party, and I'll be swept away. So I don't know if I'll be alive then, but I don't intend to be in the beach area too much longer if they don't improve, if the country doesn't improve, help improve climate control,
Yeah.
because it's scary. We get reports down here. The waves are such and such high. Don't have boats out, and you see stupid people out there with their boats, and a lot of people don't understand that insurance companies, when you get a certain report about how high the waves are, you're not insured anymore.
I
So
was not aware of that.
yeah. So anyway, um, going into Christmas, which is supposed to be a happy time of the year, we hope that people take time to be thankful and realize we do have deficiencies in our country. We have too many people fighting, too many decisions that have to be made that are not being made. Uh, we have possibly, us being on the brink of uh, financial problems and civil problems. So I would like to see for 2022 some of the politicians get their head out of their asses and start doing their job. And it bugs the crap out of me that good or bad jobs. They got a giant pension, a giant health coverage, and we have people walking around no health coverage, and they're, you know, they're not doing the job they should be doing. And then you get young people coming up who have ideas. Maybe they're not great ideas, maybe they are good ideas, but it's hard to break through because unless they sell their souls to the lobby, they can't fight off these people who are entrenched, you know.
Right. Right.
So, you have anything you want to say? Anything else?
I would add, though we just added a bunch of information and said a bunch of stuff that may seem like it is all doom and gloom. There's a lot of happy stuff going on. That's why I wanted to start the podcast with the cows, because though there is tons of negative things to talk about, there are as many and more things to talk about that are great. There are, with NFTs and cryptocurrency, there are people who are making millions of dollars that prior to this would have never found that kind of money in their life. So people are life-changing money. Wonderful.
Yeah.
They are experiencing a life they never would have had. They're the cows and the admissions thing. That's going to, if it really works and takes off, that's going to shift the global climate change in such an accelerated rate. So I think
Yeah, Peter.
it's a wonderful thing. And simultaneously, it's okay to not want to get into the cryptocurrency and the NFTs. It's okay to just focus on what you want to do. The concept of you have to do it or it's going to be, you're going to miss out. So what? Do what makes you happy. If that's what makes you happy, do it. If not, don't worry about it. And as for climate change, do what you can on your part and just keep going. Do what you want to do. You know, no one knows how much time we got left, whether it's with your own life or the planet. Planet could explode tomorrow because an asteroid hits somewhere on the other side of the planet. We have no idea. We're traveling millions of miles an hour through space, spiraling. We have absolutely no concept of, to say time is bullcrap. So do what you want to do. Fuck it.
Oh, by the way, did you see the article in the paper from the Israeli prime minister, not prime minister, minister of some kind of minister of defense, air defense or whatever, said that former President Trump and he knew that there is a galactic power of aliens that do exist. And Trump was warned not to tell the public because they wouldn't understand. Look it up on the internet. I know it's just, this is a high-ranking Israeli person in the government, former person in the government who said that. So we got a lot of
I have not
stuff.
heard that. As someone who believes in aliens, I would argue for those who don't believe in aliens, it is, I'm not going to call you stupid, but it is mathematically impossible to claim that we are the only living organisms in the entire universe. Whether we are able to come in contact with aliens in their flying spaceships and big eyeballs, that's a separate conversation. But to say there are no aliens ever possible is wrong, in my opinion. No, actually, it's factual. It's not my opinion. It has mathematically been proven we are not the only living things in this universe. Besides, besides that, no, I have not heard the article, and I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let them look up the article, and we'll come back on the next episode. We can either talk about aliens. Maybe the next time we come back, I'll shake hands with an alien in between then. Maybe on the new year, instead of Jesus coming down or being born, an alien's going to come down, and people are going to think it's Jesus.
Don't talk about Jesus. We can get canceled. We can get
No!
we can get canceled for so many things. Can we get canceled for anything we say?
No, we can't cancel. No, there's nothing we.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge. No, unless someone gets mad at saying Jesus and an alien.
Let me just tell you this to sign off. Besides wishing everybody a Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas
and Happy Holiday. Let me just say this: we will not be safe as in regard to climate control when cows do not give a shit.
Jesus Christ. All right.
You know,
Until the next one, this has been Talking with Your Grandpa Before He Croaks. Have a good night, everyone, or good morning, whenever you're listening to it.
and have a happy New Year if we don't
Happy
speak
New
to you
Year and
later.
happy holidays.
Okay. Peace
Peace
out.
out.